becoming addicted to drugs. It was a mixture of losing everyone that I thought that I'd loved. I lost my apartment, I lost my dog, I lost my car, I got in loads of debt. I would go outside every night. Once it was all said and done, all the chaos kind of, went through all the bad parts, landed up on my ass, and I would go outside every night, cry, sitting outside by myself. And that's when I first, do you know how frustrated? I've been broke my whole life, bro. I figured out how to do it in 3 hours. Within 2 weeks, I'd made 5 times my money back. I said to my ex-girlfriend, yeah, we're moving to Dubai. I'm going to set up a business and I'm going to move us here. If you're not going to be able to make money here, you're either doing something wrong or like, I don't know what you're doing, because there's opportunity everywhere. Like when I got that first 10K a month, bro, oh my God, bruv. Do you know how I felt so on top of the world and so just like, proud, I was like, finally I've figured it out.
What is one sales skill that you can impart?
One sales skill. So something that made a big difference for me when I learned this is identifying.
Welcome to Gold Standard Time with me, Richard, bringing you stories of innovation, reinvention, and self-development from the Middle East and from right here in the capital of ambition, Dubai. My goal is to inspire and challenge anyone that's dreaming, doing, and pushing for more. So let's get into it. So today we have Kai Beard, the founder of Beardo Group, who's battled poverty and addiction growing up on a council estate in London. He was able to turn his life around, building a successful 6-figure business in just 1 year. He's been based in Dubai for about 18 months. Yeah. Kai, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the intro, and thank you for the invite as well.
No, definitely. So I have said a few words about you, but how do you usually introduce yourself?
Probably just, hi, my name's Kai. That's a good start, It's probably the best start. Then I'd say I'm founder of Beardo Group, and I'm a professional boxer. And I think that's a good way to start the intro.
Okay, nice. So you've described previously your upbringing, your childhood as quite chaotic, quite violent. Is there like one instance or one time that stands out for you during that period?
Yeah, getting straight into it. Not even no small talk, just poof. Okay, so moments that stand out for me. So this is actually on my website. And so there was a time when I was 14 and I used to get like the piss taken out of me at school. People used to be like, your shoes are dead, blah, blah, blah. And I went to my mum and I was like, oh, please, can I get these type of shoes? And she basically turned around to me and she was like, if you want something, then fucking own it yourself. And that was actually like a light bulb moment for me, because I was like, actually, what's stopping me from actually going and getting it myself? And it was kind of like, what do you call it? When it was like just free will just switched on in my head. And I was like, I have free will. I can go and get what I want. And so, I think that's definitely a pivotal moment that stuck out for me.
Interesting. And how has that driven you in terms of the way you think about life now?
Yeah. The way that I think about life now, I think that obviously it's been a number of decisions over the years that have compounded, that obviously shape my worldview. But how that's impacted how I think now is, I always tell myself anything is possible. And I don't try to limit myself in the way of thinking. So I don't think to myself, that's not possible, or that's too far. I would rather be delusional and say, no, I have free will. This is life. This is a game. I can go and achieve it. I just have to figure out how to do it, sort of thing. And so I think that's how that's impacted my thinking.
Interesting. You've spoken before about running away from home at the age of 16.
Yeah.
Why did you see that as your option at the time?
Good question. I just didn't want to be at home. And I think that...
What was home like at the time?
Oh, it's just not nice. Chaotic, bro. There was a lot of drama. It was quite violent. Look, my mum had me when she was young, and she had me when she was like 14, 15. And so she had to move into a council estate when she was 16, raising me. And so, she had to also go through life as well. as be a mum. And so I happen to have gone through all her lessons in life as well with her, right? And so, you know, that it was difficult because obviously there's certain traumas on her side that maybe she hasn't dealt with and things that she's going through. Obviously, she doesn't know how to navigate things the best. She doesn't know how to act, how to be, etc. And, you know, the environment that kind of created was very toxic, very violent. I remember feeling anxious a lot, always on edge. And, you know, I never felt heard. I was never seen. And, you know, I never felt loved. I never was told I was loved either. And I was just kind of left to my own devices. Now, I'm not sitting here like blaming my mum or anything, because look, she'd done the best that she knew how to, right? But, you know, she was just a young person dealing with her life, and she probably just didn't have the emotional capacity to also look after a hyperactive kid as well as figure out life. You know, life is hard, right? Navigating life is hard. Like, adulting is hard. I think we can all agree. Like, imagine having to do that at the age of 16 plus have a kid. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
So would you say running away at that age was like freeing as opposed to doing it out of fear?
No, I was proper anxious.
Okay.
I was scared. I didn't know what I was doing. It was resentment. I remember writing a note on my door, kind of being like, this, that, thanks for nothing, and I left. And it wasn't freeing. I was scared. I didn't know, but I knew that I had to get out because I felt like I was in a prison cell, like in my mind as well. I felt like it was psychological torture, right? And there was just like no room to breathe, and I felt like I was going crazy. And so I just needed to do something. Yeah. And so, yeah.
Interesting. It's interesting that you speak about the conversation that you had with your mum, changing your mindset in terms of thinking that you can actually get anything you want in this world. Were there things that happened in your childhood as well that you had to unlearn about success or money or things like that as well?
Well, first of all, if you go to therapy or any kind of mentoring, what they're going to teach you is it's not what do you have to learn, it's what do you have to unlearn. You basically have to unlearn absolutely all of this conditioning to actually get back to yourself, which is actually like the most authentic version of self. So if there's anything that I had to learn, you know, it was to unlearn everything. You know, emotional responses, how to control yourself, how to speak to people. You know, when you feel certain feelings arising, you know, I can't just, you know, start raising my voice and getting mad. It's not.
And how did you learn those new habits, those new outlooks on life?
Life taught me. Now, I think that for men, I can only speak for men because I'm a man myself, never been a woman. Not that I know of anyway. But I think that as a man, you have like, there's maybe like 2-3 options of like how to learn something, right? There's either like the option one is like you have a dad, he's gonna kind of coach you and show you how to do life, right? And you're gonna become like a mini version of him, so to speak. Then like the number 2 option is you're gonna learn the hard way. The hard way is you go out in life, you make a mistake, you learn from it, continue. And then there's the harder way where you go out in life, you make lots of mistakes, you don't learn from it, and then you have to learn from it again. And that's kind of like the route that I took. So how did I learn to get on top of all of that? Well, first of all, I did a lot of traveling, and I've been an entrepreneur since God knows when. And what I kind of learned with entrepreneurship is that in order to become a better business person, it's actually like you have to become a better version of yourself. And so I will always accredit my goals to helping me, you know, navigate that and give me a reason to become better, a reason to communicate better, to control my emotions better, etc., etc. And then also, you know, when you get girlfriends and you start meeting people you care about, you also hurt people that you care about. And, you know, that's something that teaches you. When you hurt someone because you've reacted in a certain way or you've said a certain thing, you know, you kind of realize, I don't want to make this person feel that way. So you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, okay, what needs to change?
No, I think it's a very authentic response, man, because you've learned by doing stuff, right? You've actually tried to do things. You've had relationships, you've tried to start businesses, you have done well in business. I'm sure there are things that you haven't done so well in as well. But I think if that is the way that you're learning, you're always going to make progress. You're always going to see life as a game that you are looking to succeed at, and you're always going to be continuously moving in the right direction. If you could speak to yourself at your very lowest point,
Yeah.
what about your life today would be most surprising to him?
I think everything, because when I was actually at my lowest point, when you're at your lowest point, you don't think you can get out of your lowest point. That's the scary thing about being at your lowest point, right? Is that you don't see a way out.
Yeah.
And so if I was actually having a conversation with myself at my lowest point, it's like, bro, it's good. Don't worry. Like it's good. You're good. Don't worry. Just fucking get yourself together, pull yourself together, get in the gym, knuckle down, and don't worry so much. And I think that's the scary thing about being at your lowest point. It's like, will I make it out of this? Will I ever be normal again? Will I ever achieve my goals? Is this going to be my life forever? Am I ever going to be able to work myself out of this? Because it's scary. And especially when you're at your lowest point. For me, my lowest point was in 2018. I was a young guy and I went through a lot of. And so for me, it was like there was also the lack of life experience. I didn't understand how life worked.
What made that period your lowest point?
Oh, bro, we going deep, bro. All right, overview. So what made that period my lowest point? So it was a mixture of becoming addicted to drugs. It was a mixture of losing everyone that I thought that I'd loved. I lost my apartment. I lost my dog. I lost my car. I got in loads of debt. I became fat and depressed. I had then, for the first time in my life, had mental health issues, and that's when I started believing in mental health, and I was like, I was in such a bad place. I would go outside every night. Once it was all said and done, all the chaos kind of, went through all the bad parts, landed up on my ass, and I would go outside every night, cry, sitting outside by myself, and that's when I first, as an adult, started speaking to God and was like, please, if you help me, I promise you I'm going to give back. I promise you. Just please help me out of this. And it was every night. Every night I would go outside.
How long was that?
For a good few months.
Wow.
But I didn't wait about. I've got myself straight back in the boxing gym, went and got my old job back. And I was constantly trying. But I had serious issues, like mentally, like trying to deal with myself, smoking weed every night, like just really trying to get myself out of it. And I was so anxious and so worried and so just like my head was all over the place, just weren't myself. And it took me such a long time to get myself back in a good place. But it was tough, but yeah, we got there.
Wow. And you attribute setting up your business to you learning more about life and helping you become who you become today. So let's talk about Beardo Group.
Let's talk about Beardo Group.
What was your first big win? And how did that change everything for you?
My first big win, well, I'm actually going to go all the way back. My first big win was like landing a proper client. Because you have clients where it's like some guy, he's doing something, he pays you a little bit to help you and he's doing a bit of this and that and blah, blah, blah. But I think like my first proper big win was actually landing like a proper client who was like a proper business. They got like 40 employees and they're like proper, like they're paying me, there's no issues, I'm invoicing them, we're doing the work. And I actually remember thinking to myself, because I've had many businesses that I've failed at, right? I remember thinking to myself, wow, they're actually happy with what I'm doing. Because like before, there would be so many like mistakes. Like I remember in my social media marketing business ages ago when I was just starting out, I went and done videography for some lawyer. And he was just not happy with it. He was talking about this and that, and I color graded it really bad. And he told me I wanted it to look like a TV show. And then I was trying, I'm just putting myself out there, but just let so many people down. And then I think that's like the biggest win is actually like getting a client who are still my clients now.
Wow.
And, actually like having someone be happy with me. That was just like, and that's what I love.
Yeah.
And I love being able to just give value to my clients and just for them to be happy with me. I know this sounds stupid and like maybe, and it's not the worst way to seek validation, but I seek massive validation from my clients because I'm like, is it good? Do you like it? And it just fills me with so much joy, just happiness that someone's happy with me. So yeah.
Man, I think that's really powerful because you spoke about not really being seen, heard and appreciated as a child, right? Obviously, there are different issues that brings up.
Yeah.
But one of the, I think, not positives, but one of the things that I guess in your life has helped you to become is someone that wants to be seen as valuable.
Yeah.
Wants to actually be appreciated when you're in a room, when you're in a space.
Yeah.
So I think that's the fact that you have been able to convert that is really amazing, man.
Thank you. I will say though, there is a con to it, and the con is that sometimes I can come across as transactional.
Okay. Do you mind that?
Sometimes, yeah, because in my personal relationships, it kind of like, yeah.
Okay.
There is a con to it. But for my business, yeah, it's great because I'm just always trying to add value to people. I'm always trying to help people. I've got like a massive business community, CEOs, business owners. I'm always connecting people. I'm always helping people, always. And that's just who I am. If anyone needs to be connected to someone, they come to me always because I'm just a very well-connected person. I'm a chatterbox as well, as you can probably tell, right? I'm always looking to add value, but sometimes in personal relationships, it can come across a bit the word that I used to describe it before that I can't remember right now. Transactional.
Yeah. Okay, no, fine. So give us an overview of what Beardo Group does.
Okay.
And I know you are involved in many different businesses, so just give us a quick download of all the things that you do.
Okay, I'm just going to say one thing for the purpose of this podcast. I don't want to confuse anybody.
Okay.
So what we do is we work with B2B, finance, fintech, or tech companies, okay? And we work directly with their sales teams. And what we do is we introduce the salespeople to potential clients who are interested to buy from them. Okay, and what we do is we pre-vet these people, we speak to them, we ask them a bunch of questions, we qualify them, okay? We understand that they can be a client. Then we do something which is called pre-selling. So we basically soft sell them the product and they say, yeah, I'm interested in buying this. I'm interested in using your product or service. Then once we understand they're interested, we'll then make a direct introduction to the salesperson, either in person or online. And then they'll jump on the call or they'll meet them in person and then close the deal. That's what we do for lots of different companies around the world.
Okay, nice. So for the people listening and watching, what is one sales skill that you can impart?
One sales skill. So something that made a big difference for me when I learned this is identifying your engine. So an engine is something that drives something forwards, okay? So whether it's in a car, a plane, or a boat, it drives it forwards. Now, a business is supposed to have an engine, but most people fail to identify their engine, and then they fail to identify where their next customer is going to come from. And most businesses fail because they don't make sales, okay?
Give me an example of what an engine is.
So an engine, for example, can be anything that brings cash into your business. And what brings cash into your business? Customers and clients. And where do customers and clients come from? They come from leads. And where do leads come from? They come from referrals, they come from networking events, they come from conferences, they come from SEO, they come from meta ads, they come from LinkedIn outreach, or they come from cold calls, or they come from cold emailing, or they come from a banner or a border, a banner that someone's seen, or a billboard, or maybe an event that you've done, etc., etc., etc. And there's many different things that someone can use as an engine to drive their business forwards. But what small businesses should do is they should select only 2 to 3 things at max and focus on just those things and allocate time each day or each week to put into driving that engine forward, so they know no matter what happens in the business, as long as you're doing these 2 hours per day, for example, you're moving the needle and you're driving your business forwards.
Nice, that was clean. All right, so you've lived in Ibiza, you've lived in Sweden, and I'm missing one. Cyprus. What does Dubai give you that those places don't?
Fines. Okay, what does it give me that those places don't? Okay, so first of all, there's business everywhere. Okay, that's the great thing about life. You can make business anywhere. But what it gives me is another level of professionalism. And, for example, I'm just walking through this podcast studio, bump into a comedian that I was heckling. And he, the guy, the Andrew Tate guy that takes the piss out of Andrew Tate and he mimics him. You've probably seen one of his videos. Okay. But anyway, you just bump into people and everywhere is about business, okay? But it's not just the thing is about Dubai is Dubai filters itself out. So where, for example, somewhere like Cyprus or Spain or Sweden or England, where these are home countries for people, you can maybe live with parents, you can take shortcuts and whatever. But Dubai, you can't do that. Dubai has a way of filtering out. You have to be on job to survive in Dubai, because you can't do bad business, you can't build up a bad rep, you can't people over here without it coming back full circle. And so what's different about Dubai is that Dubai filters out and it keeps the people who are serious. And it also offers you a platform, literally wherever you go, networking event, or you go to the toilet, where you can potentially bump into a client or a partner or someone who's going to give you some information that's going to change your life.
Okay. Nice. So it's land of opportunity. What are some of the opportunities that you've had here that you think you wouldn't have gotten elsewhere?
I'm first of all going to say knowledge, because what I've learned here is just immense because of who I've been around and I've seen how people operate. So first of all, it's the knowledge. So I've become friends with people. They've told me things. I've learned things. I've implemented it. It's been good for my business. That's like the main thing. And then of course, there's like hundreds of conferences that happen all the time. If you're not going to be able to make money here, you're either doing something wrong, or like I don't know what you're doing, because there's opportunity everywhere.
So had you been to Dubai before you moved here?
Nope.
Really? That is quite rare for most people. Most people have been here on like some sort of a reconnaissance mission, on holiday.
Bro, I'm a gambler. I gamble life, and I it's all or nothing. It's like I take huge risks. Pros, cons.
Okay.
Pros, I'm here in Dubai, living a good life. Cons.
Okay, fine. So if you hadn't been here before, what alerted you to the fact that this was a good place to be? And why did you say yes?
Someone said to me once, they was like, you need to be in Dubai. There's literally business events all day, every day. You're the type of person that needs to be in Dubai. There's literally business owners everywhere. Everyone's got money. It's the place to be. It's safe, etc., etc. And I was like, yeah, really? Watched a couple videos on YouTube.
No way.
Watched like Dubai 4K. And I was like, okay, yeah. I said to my ex-girlfriend, yeah, we're moving to Dubai. I'm going to set up a business there and I'm going to move us here. And
how long was the gap between this person saying to you, oh yeah, Dubai's a great place, and you actually coming here?
All right, so I actually wanted to move there since maybe like 2023, because when I was in Ibiza, I would meet people who was living in Dubai and they would talk about Dubai. So I always kind of had it in my mind, but I didn't really feel like I was there to move there yet, right? But then I made the decision in 2023, December. I was like, okay, we need somewhere to go. My visa was running out. And then the place where I was renting was also expiring. And so I had to leave. And so I was like, well, I need to go somewhere. I'm not going back to England. And then, yeah, that was Dubai. I didn't have the money at the time. I went hard, bro. And then I moved there in May.
Wow. And why did you not want to... So where were you living at the time?
Sweden. Stockholm.
Why did you not want to move back to the UK?
Okay, multiple reasons. So I've had a lot of bad experiences in the UK. I think I probably have some sort of like post-traumatic stress disorder or whatever from being there. I'm just on edge. But also as well, like, you know, it's not very safe. I've had a lot of situations happen there where I've either been robbed or chased through parks or just negative experiences. You can get on the tube and someone is just walking through beefing people, just being a nuisance, right?
Yeah.
Or just things can just happen. And so for me, it was just not the ideal place to be. Also, you know, for me, it's like I wanted to be somewhere different. I'm an adventurer at heart. And so for me to go back to England, I feel like it would just be like, I would be itching my feet. Like I want to be somewhere else. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And so really that's it.
Okay. What was the biggest misconception that you had about Dubai that was just ripped apart when you came here?
Yeah, okay. Biggest misconceptions about Dubai. First of all, is that everyone's rich. No, they're not. You're actually going to come here and you're going to meet so many people who are actually in the same position as you, who are just people who want to make it. And so the next thing is, and it's not a misconception, but it's that Dubai's system is not transparent. So if you come here with a company and you're hired, they sort everything out for you. Happy days. But I come here blind. And if you've been here in Dubai, you know you should not come here blind, because they're going to pull your trousers down and smack your ass. They're going to take advantage of you, right? And that's what happened to me. And so the system is very unclear. You can get bumped when you first come here if you have no contacts, like I did. I come here blind. And then, yeah, you learn here via fines. So, you know, you don't really know something and then you're just fined. For example, corporation tax. No one told me you have to register for corporation tax within 3 months of opening your business or you get a 10,000 dirham fine. What did I get? I got a text message saying I've got a 10,000 dirham fine because I didn't register for corporation tax. The people that established my business did not tell me. They also bumped me massively, by the way. But that's a story for another day. But that's just because I come here blind. If I knew people before I came here, they would have said, no, you do this. These are the expectations, blah, 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 blah. And then also I was living in Arjan. I was paying like 100K for a 1-bedroom flat in Arjan. Like I can literally pay exactly half. But because I didn't really understand Dubai, like I thought, oh, well, you know, this is way nice and I wouldn't get this for the price of what it is in London. So like I'm comparing everything to London, but the misconception is that things are not expensive here as well. You can live very humbly and very normally here. Like it's, yeah, you don't have to like splash money, but if you're someone that goes to clubs, go to beach clubs, want to spend on girls, you know, get caught up with Russians or whatever it is, then yeah, maybe you're going to get your finances drained. But you can live humbly here. Yeah. And so that's a misconception. And so, yeah.
So you've built a business and scaled it to over 6 figures in less than a year.
Yeah.
But what are some of the setbacks, mistakes that you've had, other than your 10,000 dirham fine along the way?
I don't know if we got enough time for that. Mistakes, bro. Well, first of all, I still make mistakes until this day. But that's a part of the journey, right? Because you have to make mistakes to learn, oh, I shouldn't do that. Or, oh, I should do something different. So mistakes happen every single day. But some of the mistakes that I've made, oh, Jesus, it's so I don't know if this is even relevant, but like it's so like they're minute mistakes that happen every day, you know? Like maybe like the other day I had an inbound lead through LinkedIn and he does something that I did not even understand, and so I ran it through ChatGPT to understand it, and I kind of got a reply from it, and I typed up my reply, but then I sent him a message and I left half of my reply and then the proper reply. Right. And it, like, so that's just a mistake, and I'm like, oh, I did that because I woke up early and I was dealing with this, and then I weren't concentrating properly. Like, so that's just a mistake in itself, but that's a small mistake. But but I would learn from that and be like, okay, focus next time when I'm dealing with people. And then,
no, it's crazy because mistakes like that, any mistake really, if you can internalize it enough, it will never happen again.
Yeah.
So the perspective that you take on that mistake is always, I think, the most important thing, because if that had never happened to you, that risk is still out there waiting to happen, right? Waiting to be realized. But now that it has happened to you, you can literally remove that from your future just because it's happened, right?
Yeah.
But are there major mistakes that you've made since you've been running your business?
I don't actually think, you know, I've actually been very lucky. I don't think, I've never been in a situation where I've lost loads of money or like I've really like in a type of way. It's just loads of small mistakes, and maybe I'm just completely overlooking it, but something that comes to mind is, and it's not a mistake, it's I can give you like learning curves, especially when you come to Dubai, is get a lawyer to go over your contracts. Because the thing is in Dubai is, look, it's a bit Wild West-ish here, and like if someone doesn't want to pay you, they just won't pay you, okay? And basically it costs like 60,000 dirhams to bring someone in front of a judge to court to basically contest something. So say, for example, if your client just for whatever reason doesn't pay you £3,000, which is about 15,000 dirham, and you're like, well, no, he's taking the piss sort of thing, like I want him to pay. You're actually going to spend more in legal fees bringing him to court, so there's actually no point. And so, but if you actually get your contracts done and you get a lawyer to make them legally binding, you don't have to bring him to the court, and you can still pursue him legally to make sure that you get your funds paid. And so that's a learning curve, for example. Then other learning curves in business, I think see, I don't trust people anyway. So I think that I've never been caught out with people. And usually, to be honest, I did get caught out with one person, but it led me on to this business. So I'm like, so I hired some guy for my social media marketing business to do lead gen for me. I met him at some event, and you know, he started doing lead gen for me. He was really, he just did a bad job, and I got with him, and he was like, he was making up excuses, and he started talking, oh, my mental health this and that and blah blah blah, and I'm just not that. I'm not the guy to say that to. I'm like, bruv. And then I was like, all right, goodbye, my friend. and yeah, but then I was like, oh, but quickly, what software was you using? And he told me. And bro, literally, I figured out how to do it in 3 hours. Within 2 weeks, I'd made 5 times my money back. I went all in on this business, and now this is my business.
How long ago was that?
2023.
Wow.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Wow.
So I'm like, and that's the business that I took to 6 figures. And so that was in July, August 2023. I moved to Dubai in 2024 May. To get it.
Yeah.
And I've always been looking for the thing. I thought it was social media marketing. No, it's not. It's sales.
But you know what it is? It's kind of what I was saying before, right? Like, you are always moving. You're always trying to do something. And if you're that kind of a person, yes, you may have a couple of slip-ups, but you're always going to make progress, and you're always going to find that thing. And I think it's something that I've been reading a lot about and speaking to people a lot about, and just discovering for myself over the past sort of 6 months to a year, that you have to be doing something, right? You have to be trying stuff, because whether it works or it doesn't work, that then gives you the data you need to move on to the next thing. Kind of like what I said about your mistake before. If the thing that you do doesn't work out, you now have the information to, in the future, not make that mistake again, or just to pivot. And you're just going to keep pivoting and pivoting and pivoting until you either stumble upon something or end up on a path that makes sense and is actually doing well.
Yeah.
And all the mistakes end up just being your payment for success. And then it starts to pay you back, just like you said, you made 5 times your money, right?
Yeah, yeah. And so, like, for example, in to caveat what you just said, like, so all my life, I've been an entrepreneur for basically all my adult life. And do you know how frustrated I've been? Broke my whole life, bro. Like, the most I'm making is a couple grand a month. Like, I started doing okay in 2022, 2023, when I went to Ibiza. Like, I started making like good few grand a month, and then whatever.
Yeah.
But I've always been struggling, like always, for my whole entrepreneur career. And then once I figured that out, the first thing I did was invested in a mentor. And then my mentor taught me about the engine, that thing. And then like a light bulb went off in my head. I was like, oh my God. So all I need to do is just deliver this service and then sell it to all these people. I don't need to, because I used to go like to door, to office to sell this, to sell that. And I was always trying to like understand, what does this person need? But no, you just have to have a clear offer, find people that need it. And once I understood that, bro, I was mashing out 16-hour days. Like, ask if my ex-girlfriend was here, yeah, bro, she would tell you I was a madman. Like just how on it I was, and I was able to scale it that quickly because of the volume that I put into it. Once I understood that simple concept of an engine, and you feed the engine, and then you look at your conversion, and then that was it. That's all I needed to understand. And I was like, if I would have understood this in any of my other businesses, I would have been able to scale it the same. But because I didn't understand that very fundamental thing, is that every small business or every business that's starting out, their only issue is sales. People quit their businesses and say it was a bad idea. People quit their businesses and say it didn't work. People quit their businesses and say whatever they say. But the only reason why they've quit their business is because you didn't make sales. Would it be a bad idea if you was making sales? No, it wouldn't. And how many times have you brought something that is like, this is a waste of time? Millions of times. So why can't you sell your product? Why can't you sell your service? It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. You just need to sell it. And once you understand how to sell something, you're good. Then you can work on everything else. So to bring this back, because I know I'm going off on a bit of a tangent. As soon as I basically thought to myself, I've been broke for so long, stressed for so long, and when it finally started paying off, when I started getting, like, when I got that first 10K a month, bro, oh my God, bruv. Do you know how, like, just, I felt so on top of the world and so just like, like, just, I was like, finally, I've figured it out. I'm just like, so just, oh my God, bruv. Like, I've just been so stressed for so long, and this is all I had to do. That's all I had to understand. And I just felt like all this time of struggling where I doubted myself, not knowing if it was going to work. Am I going to be like this into my 30s? How am I going to have a family? Do I have to go get a job? But I'm very unemployable. All this worry, all this, I was like, it's impossible. And it all made everything worth it.
What does that do to your mind, though, in terms of, like, as you said you struggled your whole life. You literally had a cap on what you'd made monthly forever, right? What does that do in these past 2 years to literally not be in that zone anymore? Like, how do you fathom that? And how does your mind, like, grasp that we're not where we were? Like, this is a new realm of operation. Because that can't be easy, right?
Well, okay, so what I'm understanding your question to be is, what effects does that have on your mind? Now,
positive and negative.
I'm going to give you two answers. Now, the first thing is, you now have a new baseline. So, like, if I get to a certain amount of money, I'm broke. Like, I actually said this to someone the other day, because I was having some dumb conversation then. Anyway, like, once I get to a certain threshold, I'm panicky, bro. Like, panicky. But, like, if I would...
me asking you what that number is?
Yeah, if I get to, like, say, for example, if I'm like 6K a month, pounds, I'm panicking, bro. I'm like worried.
Is that because of what your living expenses are, or is that because of where?
A mixture.
Okay.
And so it's also because I know where my baseline is and what I'm capable of, I almost look at myself as disgrace. And so I'm like, that's disgraceful. Like that's like, well, what are you doing? But if I flash back to 2 years ago, made it. Yeah. If you told me 3 years ago when I'm living in a hostel in Ibiza that, don't worry, in 3 years time you're going to be making six grand a month, normal, like that's just whatever, I'd be like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so okay, so what does that do? So first of all, it gives you a new baseline of what's possible, how to operate, etc. Because what it is it's the doubt. You're just constantly doubting yourself until you actually get there. And to go through that breakthrough, it took everything. It took 16 hours a day. I had to get in shape. I had to change the way I was thinking. I had to change what I was eating. I had to change absolutely every single thing about myself to achieve that. And it took so much effort. It was so difficult to change myself and to recreate myself. And I was, to be honest with you, I was doing it at 70%. So when I started working with my mentor and he told me do this and this and this, I was doing it, but at 70%. And then I would track my finances, my body, and what, like, all these things I was tracking. And I was doing it for a couple months. And I remember this moment, I was walking to the supermarket with my ex, and I got so f***ing mad at myself because there was no difference in my income or my body within these months. And I said, what am I paying him for? And it weren't cheap, bro. And it was the most mad I've ever got at myself. And I said, this is it. I said, I don't care how I feel or what's going on. I said, I'm doing it. And for the first time in my life, I applied myself and got 100% of what I asked from myself. And now the first month, it just was whatever. And I'm telling you, okay, this is why I believe in manifestation. I believe in God. I believe in all. I'm telling you, when I started operating at 100% of my capability, my life just started to change in front of my eyes. Everything that I ever wanted, everything that I'd ever dreamed of just started coming and happening. Opportunities just coming out of nowhere. Things, clients, this, that, money. I'm like, oh my God. And it's like a snowball effect. And you just keep going and going and going. And then because it was such a snowball effect, leaving Sweden, before I left Sweden, okay, I got an opportunity to fly to Poland to host an event for a company, okay. I went to a conference, networked at the conference, got 100 people from the conference to go to this after party, hosted the after party, sold my client services at the after party. Then I flew back to Sweden, packed my bags, went to England for 4 days, went and got my stuff out of storage, said hello to my friends, said hello to my family, took them for a Nando's, got on the plane, moved to Dubai, had 10 meetings already booked for myself in Dubai, brought a dog on day 9 of moving to Dubai, okay, and then straight into it, getting in the mix, okay? And when I'm saying to you, it was such a snowball effect, it was only like when I was like half a year, maybe even more into Dubai, in like maybe half a year, I'm like, look at where I am. But because I'm so on it, I didn't realize my baseline had changed. And so in that period of time, I'm like, no, I'm a different person. Like, because all of this stuff now, the things that I found difficult, like waking up at 4 a.m., doing this, doing that, and blah, 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 was very difficult. But now I do it like it's a new baseline. That's the positives.
That's the positive.
The negatives,
Okay.
I got too carried away with myself. I went and spent it on I was renting a sports car. I got an apartment.
What car was it?
It was a Chevrolet Camaro, but it had like all body kits and this and that. It was sexy, bro. I was gassed.
That was here?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was just spending, going out, like people in a group, yeah, I'll pay for that, don't worry. You know, being the man, trying to be Andrew Tate, bruv. And I'm telling you, because I looked up to him a lot. And the thing is, I like Andrew Tate for the motivation and stuff, but now I don't need motivation, or I don't need that mindset. I need more technical stuff, but I'm going off on a tangent. The cons: spending too much money, thinking my business is always going to be doing well, not saving, being careless, not tracking my finances, getting too big for my boots. And like life, you know, life is very interesting. And then I got humbled, and then my business didn't do so well. And then my finances come down, and then I had to fire people on my team who I actually really cared about and helped me, and I had to let people down, and I had to take a look in the mirror, and I got a bit fat again, and I got a little bit depressed again, and then I broke up with my ex because I thought she needs to go, she needs to be upgraded as well. I needed to upgrade every single part of my life, and I started looking at things very, very materialistically, and I got too here, and then I had to come back down to earth. And so that's the cons. But now I'm not saying that's going to happen to everyone, but coming from someone who grew up on a council estate with no money in his life, you put 10K in his pocket, and you know, he's going to think he's someone.
Yeah, no.
But the reality is I'm no one. I'm nobody. I'm just a 28-year-old trying to make it in the world, and now, you know, just trying to make a good stable base so for my future family to do well and to help people to do good things in the world. But it's all about the intentions. My intentions were to look flashy, to look like the man, to look like this, to look like that. But that was the wrong path. And I'm so glad that I went through that difficult period in business, and it humbled me, because now I've gone through all of that. I've got all of that out of my system. I know that's not the way. So now as I'm rebuilding, I see a new vision. I have new intention, backed by God, backed by pure intention, backed by good things. So yeah.
Wow. That's amazing, man. You're so like vulnerable in what you speak about, but you're also very present and very self-aware in terms of who you are, who you were, but also who you want to be, and like the differences between all of those different versions of yourself. So I think it's really powerful to know that about yourself. A lot of people don't know enough about themselves to know why something went wrong, because if they don't know the answer to that, then they can't put it right again, right? I want to ask you a question about your mentor. You said, so let me start from, what did he tell you to do? Because you said that you were operating at 70% with the things that he told you to do. Like, what were those things?
It's a lot. So he's a business mentor, but it's life mentor. He essentially helped me go from a boy to a man, first of all, because
So this in-person mentoring?
it can be,
virtual.
but
Okay.
he's in England and I was in Sweden and now Dubai, and so, but he does come here to Dubai, so it's on Zoom calls, right? So what does he do? So he basically looks at my business. I speak to him about my goals and what I want to do, and he helps me structure it. Because you have to reverse engineer what you want to do and break it into habits, and that's what he helped me do. And to be honest, everything that I can speak to you about business or understanding this, I learned from him. I learned a lot from him. And he also helped me manage my emotions. I was very angry. Still in Sweden, I was very angry. Like I remember he said to me, I'm going to tell you this once. Use this group chat, because we had a group chat where we already spoke about this stuff. Use this group chat to vent whenever you need to vent. Bro, I'd be in there every day. I'd be venting about everything. This client said this to me. My ex said this to me. Blah, 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 blah. I'd be mad, bro. Just vexed at everything. Just traumatized. Not dealt with anything. Raw to the flesh. Just out here, just undiagnosed. Just out here in life, trying to do my thing. But then he helped me work through that. Every time, whenever I was mad and in my head, he said, go to the gym and smash that bag until you don't feel angry anymore. He said, and then go home and journal. Get it all out, write whatever comes to your mind. And he gave me, so what he taught me is something called protocols. So a protocol is something that you have in place for if something happens. So for example, if I feel like I'm going to negatively spiral, okay, what's the protocol? Okay, have a healthy meal, go to bed early, wake up early, boom, reset, for example. And so he gave me a lot of frameworks and mental frameworks to help manage myself, as well as helping me with business, adjusting this, that. He was the one that taught me about CRM. He got me on CRMs. Now I'm helping businesses integrate CRMs into their business and doing sales. He told me, I only took my first Zoom call online, like in Sweden, like 2023, bro. That was my first Zoom call. Now I'm taking 10 Zoom calls a day and this and that, and teaching other people how to do that. And so he taught me how to frame a lot of things. He looked at my invoices and said, no, you need to change that. He looked at everything and just pointed things out and helped me. And so to be honest with you, most of the things he told me, I already knew myself. I just weren't doing them. So he kept me accountable and he helped me raise my standards. But the main thing that he helped me do was get clear on myself, because it's not a education issue that most people have. It's an application issue. And so it's just people don't apply the knowledge that they already know. And he helped me to apply everything, to keep myself in good order, and to be a respectable man that I respect, and not just this raw, unfiltered madman. And he helped me become I was always a good person, but like he just helped me become a man, and he helped me navigate and carry myself well.
Sounds like although you had a very difficult start to life, it sounds like for whatever reason you had a lot of the building blocks for who you are today. I don't hear you speak a lot about, I don't know, it doesn't sound like there were many external things that came into your life. But for example, this mentor seemed to help you like arrange stuff. Like you said, even like internally, yes, you had issues, but all the right things were still there. They just needed to kind of be put in place.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and that's why I think it's important to invest in mentorships and things like that, because it's all about perspective. They just have a greater perspective. He's like 20 years older than me, maybe 15. Sorry, Pete. But he's just got greater perspective. So he's like, all right.
You kind of look from above. And
he's like, all right, calm down. It's not that deep. Just do this, this, and this. It's just a perspective, bro. You know, like when you're speaking to a kid and you already know what they're going to say, or maybe you know they're lying about, you just know already, and you already know all of this stuff. It's just because you have greater perspective. And so, yeah, I'll be honest. So there's two things here. First thing is, I genuinely believe, like, say if my life was a movie, I believe that I live and have gone through the exact experiences to make me super successful. I know without a doubt, but I do have doubt, because I doubt myself every day, but I shouldn't. But without a doubt, because I also have unbelievable confidence within myself that I'm going to be super successful, without a doubt. But also I do doubt myself every day, as everyone does. But I don't doubt myself every day because I still show up. So it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
a lot of successful people do live on that precipice. Like a lot of successful people what you just said, they might use different words, but a lot of them exist like on that edge. And
Yeah.
again, from a faith perspective, from a God perspective, a lot of people, yes, like they completely wholeheartedly believe in God and his promises and what they're going to achieve. But the things that come at them in life do sometimes, make them think, and then they're back on it again, and then make them think, oh, but what about, and then they're back believing again. And it is, it's obviously better to completely always believe and always be confident, but life happens. So I think, yeah, you're honest about that.
Yeah, life does happen. And like, to be honest with you, it doesn't matter what you think. It only matters about what you do. And so if I was to, for example, like think, oh, I'm a failure and I doubt myself and I'm worried and this and that, and I acted upon that and didn't do any actions to counter that, then I would not be in a good place. But because maybe I might have some doubt, but I do it anyway, it doesn't matter. You can doubt yourself, but I did it anyway. I'm still human.
And is that pointer to the habits that you were taught to just make sure you're doing these things as opposed to only do them if you feel like it?
Well, first of all, I've always been on it.
Okay.
I've always been on it.
Yeah.
But I just didn't know in the right ways to structure it.
Okay.
And also,
when you say on it, you've always been
I've always
an
put
action
in
person.
that work.
Okay.
But then there's like the shadow self. And so as much as I've always been a worker, there was a lot of things that I would avoid doing that would...
What sort of things?
Okay, what sort of things did I avoid doing? So it was things like tracking finances, maybe doing things in proper ways. Maybe it was like investing in proper systems and et cetera, et cetera. But I just thought that I could just keep on doing it in this way.
Okay.
And so because I'm avoiding the work that I know I should be doing, because I'm slightly lazy, because I'm like, but it's not lazy because I'm putting in loads of work, but it's like I'm actually counter working against myself because I can just work a bit smarter instead of working harder. And I come from the background of work hard, but then I had to learn how to work smart. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's almost as though all of the activity and all of the energy you're putting into, whatever goal you're heading towards, some of it ends up leaking through some of that, I guess, untidiness, maybe not tracking stuff or not investing in good systems. But once you can kind of tighten that up, you end up like just being turbocharged into your actual progress and what you're working towards.
Yeah.
A question on, just finally, on this mentor point. You mentioned that you were going to the supermarket with your ex and you got super angry. I thought you were going to say you got super angry at your mentor. Why did you look inward? Why was it that you were so angry but at yourself?
So there was actually a moment where I said to my mentor, like, things aren't working. And I kind of was like, you're not helping me. I was being a victim. I did victimize myself in that moment. And these were two completely separate moments, by the way.
Okay.
And
how far apart?
I don't remember, but
okay.
No, like a fair amount apart. And he basically said to me, you sure? Yeah, you sure it's me that's the issue? Yeah. And like he was like, you sure? And then I was like, yeah, just had a moment, right? And so going to that moment, why did I think to myself? Because on the journey of becoming a boy to a man, you learn that you're 100% accountable for 100% of the things in your life.
I think in terms of accountability, that for me, and I know you do a lot of work with men, I think, and I've been blessed. I grew up with my dad. I have a great dad. I can talk about him all day. And that is one of the key things he taught me. But what you just said, I see in a lot of other men and women. And I think any successful person is going to at some point not just become an adult, they're going to become a responsible and accountable adult. And I used to think it was accountability and responsibility for others being a leader, right? And that comes, but it's governorship over yourself and your own actions. And when you actually get to a point where you know that you are responsible for your own actions, inputs and outputs, and the outcomes of your life, I think that is then where something shifts in everyone. Because literally what you just said, like I've heard so many people say, I've read so many books where people say they got to a point where they realized it was all down to them, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, you start looking at life a lot differently
100%.
when you understand that. Because
100%.
I used to be someone that I would take shortcuts. I would try and just get through this and, you know, do something in a certain way. And I was always someone growing up where, you know, I was a little bit charming, good looking lad, kind of cheeky, kind of could get away with stuff, and maybe I could just get a shortcut, or I'd know someone, or like I would, you know, whatever it was. And to be honest with you, it was in that period of life where I was really trying to, you know, do it.
Yeah.
Where I was like, there's no shortcuts. I can't hide.
Yeah.
It's either I do this 100% and I get the 100% that I'm asking from myself, or I don't.
Yeah.
And then coming to Dubai as well also helped me grow up a lot, because there is definitely no cutting corners here.
Yeah.
You can't do that here.
It's
It's
interesting because it's what you said earlier. I think this city finds people out.
Yeah.
I think this region finds people out. I think you can come here in a very clean-cut way and operate and succeed, or you can try and kind of fudge your way around stuff, and it's not going to work out. And that's what I've discovered from speaking to a lot of people. Coming up to the end, you called me the other day, and you were in the mountains of Ras Al Khaimah.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Okay. So there's a few things here, and it was kind of like perfect timing. So my tenancy contract was coming to an end. I extended by a month or so, and I'm turning pro. And so
pro, for people who don't know,
boxing. So I'm becoming a professional boxer. For those that don't know, luckily as a kid, I boxed for my whole teens and early 20s, and luckily that kept me on like the fairly straight and narrow. But I was always on and off from boxing because I would box and then I would get distracted, and I would box and then I would get distracted, keyword distracted, okay, and I would box and then I'd get distracted. Now, why did I go to Ras Al Khaimah? So two things here. First of all, I'm turning pro. Okay, which is a dream. I've always wanted to do this, right? It's been a huge goal of mine, and I never did because a friend of mine, God rest his soul, Jamie Carley, said to me when I was younger, I said, is the money good? And he said no, and I wanted money. And so I focused a lot on building a business and, you know, whatever. And I saw him, he would get up mad times, go and work all day, and he was training and this and that. I was like, that is just long, bruv. So I kind of thought to myself, I'm in the best situation to do this now, where I work fully remote and, you know, I don't have huge responsibilities to go elsewhere. So turning pro, I was like, there's a lot of changes that I need to make in life. I need to kind of process this last year and a half of being here. And there's so many changes that I want to make personally, emotionally. There's changes I have to make physically. There's changes I have to make financially. There's changes that I have to make spiritually. There's changes that I need to make in my business. There's changes that I need to make everywhere in my life. And I'm a very extreme person. And so I'm like, I'm going to go to Ras Al Khaimah for 3 months. It might end up being longer now. And I'm going to lock the... I'm going to be on my... And I'm going to have another breakthrough. And I'm going to upgrade my life in every single... That's why I'm in Ras Al Khaimah, in the mountains.
When you say in the mountains, are you living outside? How does it work?
I'm not outside. Like, so the place I'm staying in is rough. Like, it's rough, bro. And I'm right next to the mountains. So, like, Ras Al Khaimah is a less nice Emirates already, right? And so
I was there over the weekend. It was beautiful. Well, where I wasn't where you were.
Yeah. And so when I was speaking to agents asking for places, they were sending me places. I was like, it's too nice. I need rough. And trust me, it's so rough. I've really got what I asked for, and it's actually difficult. I'm looking to move to another place because it's rough, bro. Water don't work sometimes, electric don't work sometimes. Sometimes I have to hand wash my clothes. So like, it's rough. There's no proper shops or anything within like a 10-minute drive. Like, it's rough. Like, the place I'm staying in is rough, but it's perfect because what that did was it. When you're in a state of uncomfort, it brings so much emotions out of you. When you're so uncomfortable, you really get the chance to confront yourself fully. like, because you're out of your comfort zone completely. And it's just everything comes up, all these thoughts, feelings, things that you haven't processed, and all of this stuff, and you're so desperately clutching for comfort and looking for things to make you comfortable, but I can't because I'm in the middle of nowhere. It's just me now, baby.
Amazing. Okay, before we round up, you are in the middle of a new journey, about to start another journey to another level in life, right? For people who are looking to start a business, for people who are just looking to take their life to the next level, they don't really know which direction to go in, what would you tell them? What are the first couple of steps to take?
All right, so there's two questions here. It's what would I tell people who want to start a business, and what would I tell people who want to improve their life? The first thing I need to say is social media has massively romanticized entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship is not nice. And to be honest with you, I'll be completely honest, I don't know why someone would want to become an entrepreneur. Do you know how hard this is? Like, you don't understand what you're putting yourself into. Like, it's not a joke, bro. Like, you're going to be worried about your rent. You're going to be worried about everything. When's your next paycheck coming? When's this coming? Is this going to work? Is that going to work? It's difficult. So for anyone that wants to start a business or become an entrepreneur, actually ask yourself, am I willing to do what it takes to push through? Because the actual doing the work isn't difficult. It's the emotional side of it that's difficult. It's the mental torture that's difficult every day. Is this going to work? Is this going to work? Am I going to pay my rent, etc.? Okay. And then if you do decide that you want to be an entrepreneur, my advice, all you need to do is sell. Get a product, get a service, learn how to do something, find your target market and sell. That's your biggest problem that you're going to have when you start a new business, is selling. Once you learn how to sell and once you get clients, you can quit your job, you then can scale it. It's actually very simple, but it's also difficult and it takes time. And so when you also look at business, don't think, oh yeah, within 3 years, I want to be at this level. No, you have to look at it within 10 years. Where do I want to be within 10 years or more? Because it takes a long time and it doesn't just happen like that. Maybe if you're one of these crypto bros and you invest in pumps and you take it out, whatever, you get some money, cool. But what did you learn? What life skills did you learn? Nothing. You're a gambler. Okay. And I'm not you. Lots of people become very wealthy from doing it. Fair play to you, but you don't learn any actual life skills. So that's my advice on being a business. If you want to start a business, if you want to improve your life, it depends what you want and everyone's different. Okay. But if you want to improve your life, this is a very vague, this is a very vague question. But generally, you just need to, how can you feel more loved? How can you give more love? How can you earn a little bit more money? How can you feel better? Probably just be a bit healthier. Make sure you go to the gym, have a good routine, get good sleep, eat healthy, be good to your loved ones and just try and be a good person and do charity. That's probably going to, improve your life by some degree if you do those things.
Okay, I like that. So we know what's next for you. What is next for Beardo Group?
Burger to burger.
Burger to burger.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's an inside joke. But what's next for the Burger Group? Okay.
Do you understand burger to burger? Oh, you do. Okay.
All right. What's next for Beardo Group? Okay, so what's next for Beardo Group? So I actually have this whole new sales system that I'm implementing within the business, and it's like the most sickest sales system ever. And that's gonna just hugely help my business. It's quite complex, very techy on the technical side to implement it, but I'm gonna do that. Then I'm gonna hopefully implement that for my clients. And then I'm currently in the process of hiring someone who's going to take on my role within the business and handle the operations that I handle, so that I can then move into a full-time sales role and then just focus on sales in the business because I'm very good at sales. And then in 2026 and 2027, 2026, we're going to be testing a beta completely outsourced B2B sales team. So if you're a fintech company, tech company, finance company, and you're looking for a fractional business development manager and you don't want to hire someone full time, but you want the full spectrum of sales, from lead generation to taking sales calls, to qualifying, to pre-selling, to closing deals, to sending invoices, to CRM management, you can get that at a fractional price of what you pay a salesperson, and you can come to us and outsource that fully, and we will handle your sales. So that's what's next for Beardo Group. And what's next for me is I'm going to become a professional boxer, and I'm going to see how far I can take.
That's it. Kai Beard, thank you so much
Thank
for
you so
coming
much
on
for
today.
having me, bro.
Where can people find you online? Where can people find out more about Beardo Group?
Find me anywhere online. Kai Beard, Kai, Beard as in beard. It's actually my last name. Thank my granddad for that. And LinkedIn, Instagram, those are my two main channels. Please send me a message. And
amazing.
Thank you so much,
man.
My bro. Thank you, brother.